Hello, it's Empress LuxAse. Please like and subscribe. Thank you to those that already do. If you like exclusive content, check out my Patreon, my members section on YouTube. This particular reading is going to be an astro tarot reading for Lil Uzi Vert. I did a tarot reading for him, oracle reading too, around the time where he went to the hospital. I think that was around April, and I haven't heard anything else about him, but the reading, it was some interesting energy that came out, so I did want to look into his transits for now until 2026. What I will say, Lil Uzi Vert is on the verge of a total transformation, or it could be a possible breakdown. His transits say it could be a little bit of both, so he should definitely buckle up. For I think 2025, especially after the hospitalization, was the transits for him are no joke, especially going into 2026. He's gonna have a Saturn return, and this is loosely based because I don't have his exact date of birth, by the way. Disclaimer, disclaimer. But from what I've been studying and looking into, for those of you who don't know, I didn't know this guy's real name. I always thought he looks like he was born as Lil Uzi Vert, but that's not actually not his name. I actually don't know how to pronounce this correctly, so I'm gonna try my best. His birth name is Samir. I feel like that's right. Samir Basil Woods. He was born July 31st, 1994 in Philadelphia. So I also saw claims that he was born in 1995. So it's a little bit iffy with that. I guess 1994 would be the correct year. That is what I did his chart on. So I don't have a birth time. So it would be based on 12 noon. So I would miss really like the rising sign, individual house placements. So like I said, very loosely based. He has like major planetary alignments, especially this year, that's affecting his chart, particularly transits that will involve generational and personal planets. So just for this year, I do see a lot of tension and restructuring for him, and possibly having a creative drive, thanks to him having heavy placements around Saturn, Mars, and the node dynamics and the emphasis on those nodes. So Saturn conjunction Saturn, that will mark a rite of passage for him. A Saturn return, that brings typically like a career restructuring, deep inner discipline, performance anxiety, or a shift, especially around age 30th. He also has Saturn opposing his moon, Mars conjuncting his Venus and moon. No Rahu Ketu aspects to personal planets, so it's giving like he's at a crossroad. Like especially with Rahu and Ketu, that's like karmic crossroads, new partnerships, reinvention, or shifting life purpose. With the Saturn opposing his moon, he could have had emotionally distanced himself or had pressure when it came to personal relationships or his public persona. The Mars conjuncting his Venus and moon, that would be like surges of creative energy, passion projects, maybe like new music or collaboration during late spring, maybe even the summer. Now Jupiter trining Saturn, that will happen October of this year. So this is like stabilization opportunities that will build on early attention, maybe perhaps scaling success more sustainably for him. So I don't have his birth time. So this is going to be based on my intuition and interpretations. So I'm trying my best with his chart. So for January through May, since there was a Saturn return for him, Moon and Mars aspects, would have been a lot of eternal restructuring, creative shifts for him. July, which we're in July right now, well, it's almost August. His Mars is conjuncting his Moon, so this is like a lot of emotional drive, artistic output. October, Jupiter's going to try his Saturn, so this is like consolidation, growth with discipline. November through December is Saturn and Saturn conjunction and Mars Saturn. Tension is going to be on that for transits on his chart. So this is like final adjustments, possible friction, artistic peace. So I'm going to say the next 12 to 18 months are framed by his Saturn return and related Mars node confrontations. So these are classic markers of a life pivot for him. This could be like a reinvention, discipline, some sort of creative reinvigoration, or maybe emotional turbulence. He could maybe be having a new album drop or a branding shift around late this year or early 2026. It could be something like that. Now, I did want to look at some other things based off the tarot reading I did for him, because I was just like, ooh, this is some kind of crazy energy coming out for him. I did get like a lot of Illuminati vibe. Are they trying to take him out? That type of vibe. And also got like someone possibly doing something spiritually there. And relationship issues, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, came out in that reading as well. And we know he's dating Jatavia. I can't think, JT from City Girls. Now, just from a valuation, with Saturn being one of his dominant planets, followed by Neptune and the Sun, Saturn, like I always say, is about lessons, is teaching, discipline, structure, but also could be some sort of age-related hardship for him, like from a karmic pressure point. Then Neptune's dominance is like a risk of him having confusion or escapism, like drugs, you know, or health, allegedly in certain purposes, or health vulnerabilities tied to feigning, addictions, or disassociation. So I think they said when he had to go to the hospital, he passed out. I think that's what was said. But he don't really have any red flags involving Mars, Uranus, and Pluto striking his sun or moon directly that in a harsh aspect. But I couldn't really assess his Mars, Saturn, Uranus, or Ketu in the 8th house, or if they are in the 8th house, and if they conjunct his ascendant in midheaven, because I don't have his exact birth time. So I didn't really see certain things that I was looking for. Now, we do know he was hospitalized in April. I think they say he fainted or he collapsed or was unconscious, and was hospitalized until the next day, but no real reason was confirmed. But from the reading I got, I pretty much had a couple of assumptions. So that health square alone will point to some vulnerability. Even with the Neptune Saturn tension, that could symbolize the same type of crisis. But no, just some other indicators I see with his chart is that's his Saturn. The Saturn placement is really dominant and Neptune, so he would be resilient but prone to burnout, fog, emotional exhaustion, or like pressure with his identity. Then he doesn't have a hard Mars, Uranus, Pluto aspect visible. So he really wouldn't have any accidents or like early transition markers. Now, hospitalization, that's like a real physical vulnerability. You don't really need any astrology to confirm that, because we heard about it. So just I went a little bit deeper. I would say it's the Saturn placement and how it's so dominant in his chart for me. Saturn entering Aries, that would have entered Aries May 24th for him and will stay until September 1st. And then it will retrograde back into Pisces until February 13th of next year. And then it fully re-enters Aries in mid-February 2026. And then the retrograde period for it was July 12th to November 27th of this year. Now, how that would affect Lil Uzi is his Saturn would be conjunct Neptune in Aries. Specifically this month, it would have did like a T-square to a moon in Chiron. Chiron's like a wounded energy, the wounds. So there, what could have surfaced possibly was unresolved emotional wounds, a creative burnout, or create karmic pressures. Then with the Saturn opposing his moon April 11th, and then it conjuncting his Saturn. Saturn conjuncting Saturn is crazy. April 1st, and then again it's going to happen November 27th of this year. This is just as like him having something emotionally going on, or hardship with his emotions, public pressure, or challenges with his identity. Then he's gonna, Saturn return things are like around discipline, restructuring, and testing of emotional resilience. Saturn returns, that's not easy. That is not easy. Now, with Uranus themes, Uranus moving to Gemini on July 7th, and then retrogrades back into Taurus on November 7th, then comes back to Gemini again April 27th. The key aspect for him is Uranus squaring his Sun on Mars, and just based on impacting angles, it could bring some sort of abrupt change or shock when it comes to him. And I'm going to say early 2025. And then he's going to have his sun squaring Uranus August 24th. So there's going to be a Mars-Uranus trine in August. So there's something that could definitely happen around that time for him. So my prediction, there could be some sort of heightened volatility or like with communication or his image or collaborations. So he could have like some sort of potential emotional joints or sudden shifts in his career or relationships during the Uranus-Gemini window. Now with the Mars movement, it's very hot and intense. Mars is about action. So with the retrograde early this year through February 23rd in Leo to Cancer, this would then it's traveling to Cancer, to Leo, then Virgo through the summer for this year. That Mars squaring his Saturn, that's coming up August 8th and then December 7th. So I get a lot of stress, frustration, and health pressures for him. Then his Mars conjuncting his Moon July 30th, which hasn't happened yet. I'm seeing something emotionally happening or energy surges or possible burnout. Then Mars conjuncting his Ketu South Node, that's between July 22nd of this month to August 3rd. There could be like some sort of rash behavior or karmic release and potential for danger when it comes to Lil Uzi. So, yeah. So I want to say around April this year with that Saturn conjuncting Saturn and then Saturn opposing his Moon. It's like a big Saturn return energy, emotional strain, career shakeup, just a lot of pressure. Then for this month with the Mars conjunct his Moon and Saturn Neptune conjunction in Aries and then Uranus entering Gemini, a lot of emotional overdrive, like maybe reinventing his identity, sudden opportunities or disruptions. Because last time I heard from him when it comes to identity, he was like, call him Leslie. He definitely plays around in that area. Then August 2025, I think I'm going to upload his tarot reading a little bit earlier than I initially wanted to. That Mars squaring his Saturn, Mars opposing Neptune, and Sun squaring his Uranus. This is like high tension, a burnout risk, accidents or unexpected conflict, or just maybe some sort of creative chaos. Now fall, Saturn is going to retrograde in Pisces and Neptune retrograde, and then Uranus goes back to Taurus. So that could be a period of reflection, downtime, emotional recalibration before the next push. Now early 2026, I'm going to say Saturn and Neptune, that exact conjunction February 20th. There's a deep karmic reckoning for him. Something going on with his identity and like identity threshold and a potential pivot point. So I see a lot of emotional and physical tension repeated, especially around the summer and winter. Definitely issues with burnout, immune suppression, and him being emotionally overwhelmed. I'm going to say July to August of this year, and then late this year, he has the potential for accidents or just at least being very stressed out or stress vulnerability. Then the Saturn-Neptune conjunction early 2026 could reopen some sort of emotional wounds or challenges that he experienced, like fainting or just low vitality or him having escapist habits. So I'm going to say that hospitalization, there could have been triggers around emotional issues or his identity with public or just his personal persona. Then now until August, this is a high risk window because the Mars hitting his Moon and Ketu, and then the Saturn Neptune tension and Uranus shock potential. So late this year to early 2026, I just see a lot of stress with Saturn return cycles and then karmic energy too. So big picture things, I'm going to say at least from 2024 to 2026 was him burning this old image and maybe growing like spiritually tired. In the tarot reading I did, somebody was doing something spiritually. So it's almost like whatever's being done is weakening him. He also would have had hidden health issues, I'm going to say, since 2024. Then 2025 is the pressure cooker, fate versus free will. And then he has Saturn return. I get emotional crisis and deep karmic tests for him. Now 2026, he could really rise from the ashes, Phoenix rising, full reinvention. But the Saturn and Neptune conjunction is equal. It does for me equal ego death and a rebirth. So late 2024, between September and December, with the placements, he would have had a lot of energy drain, mental fog, Even in 2024, he would have had possible hospitalizational energy, issues with his identity, brand overhauls, and control issues. Then also finances or body image or like survival instincts would have been triggered for him too. So 2024 would have been like a very shadowy period. Something behind the scenes, health or legal, may have shook up his routine. So it wouldn't have been a time for pushing limits, rest, or he wouldn't need to rest or face the consequences. Now, early to mid this year, January to July, he had some black energy, slow reboot. He would have definitely been forced to grow up really quickly, especially emotionally, creatively, and spiritually. I also see signs of possible depression, relationship and family stress, and isolation. Now, late July, I'm getting he may have explosive mood swings, may experience like a physical injury or a breakdown. So, whatever was happening in 2024 for him was an eternal erosion. This is the collapse of old structures when it comes to him. He may cancel tours or cut ties or just suddenly disappear publicly. Or maybe, especially around August, is it a breakdown or a breakthrough for him? So July and August looks interesting for him. Like a physical and emotional burnout alert. Could shock changes with communication, tech use, or public behavior. Late July is like something's going to trigger karmic energy, like past life stuff. And it feels like it could be like life or death choices. And this could be like medical, spiritual, legal. That would be the window that he needs to be very careful. Then late 2025 was Saturn and Neptune retrograde and Mars squaring Neptune and an eclipse in Libra. I see a lot of reflection, spiritual detox. December is like, watch out for lies or confusion or maybe substance exposure. And an eclipse in Libra, this could be like something around activating relationships, contracts, or court issues. So I almost feel like, is he going to disappear? Like quiet exile energy or withdraw for healing, rebuild behind closed doors, or pursue some esoteric or spiritual work, which I keep getting. So he also going to be recording something darker or more experimental, which his music is, for me, already in that category. Now, 2026 would be definitely the full karmic reset with the Saturn conjunct Neptune, Uranus fully in Gemini, and then Mars retrograding in Scorpio. This is where the illusion breaks. His ego could possibly dissolve. He's either going to surrender to a higher path or get lost in the fog. And that's around February 20th. April, could it possibly be a public reinvention through AI, music, or tech fusion? Then December 2026 with Mars retrograding Scorpio, this is like explosive, deep transformation. So this could be possibly a return to violent themes, but also a rebirth. So either he drops off the grid permanently or like do it in a dramatic way or comes back with a radically altered image like a spiritual rapper or something like digital or like some sort of post-apocalyptic, like something odd, but it'll fit him. So July towards end, if spiritual rebirth energy is definitely February and April. And however he reemerges mid 2026 will be unexpected and very different. So he got some like major karmic construction between now to mid 2026. So if he doesn't slow down, life is going to force him to. There could be signs of a deep soul mission that's activated for him, but only after a collapse of his identity and ego. So July and August of this year is very interesting for him. It's like he's on a, yeah. Very interesting for him. He's definitely, there's something going to definitely change about him. I'm going to go to the tarot. Bye. All right, so moving on to the tarot. What is next for Lil Uzi Vert? Some dog makes me significant, like something odd. What's next for, he may be feeling guilty about something or someone in his energy is, and then the guilt may be linked to his spirit. Next for Uzi Vert. Reconciliation and embrace it. The reconciliation. Who you reconciliating with? Who you reconciliating with? Reconciliation. You supposed to be with JT. So reconciliation, this card talks about reconciling with someone or something. There could be some sort of unresolved issue that's weighing on him, and he needs to take the first step towards peace that will bring him inner tranquility and strengthen his future relationships. He needs to have the courage, take that leap forward and discover his own strength, overcome any obstacle. It's like he's facing a tough decision, but he shouldn't shy away from it. And it's linked with the sacred union. This talks about somebody may have a drinking issue, allegedly intended purposes, but this talks about two powerful forces are uniting, whether in a relationship or within himself. So this could bring him energy and growth. Embrace this connection. It will lead to deeper understanding, transformation. I'm going to say if he's not reconnected with someone else, it's almost like whatever that issue, I don't want to say it's the issue, the battle with who Lil Uzi is with his identity, he should just embrace it. So this says, embrace the changes happening around you. Has recent changes made you uneasy? Accept them, adjust, and discover the opportunities that come with transformation. I told you. That may be just more so to with who he is or who he identifies as. What is the energy around Lil Uzi Vert? Girl fight and crying over you. Lil Uzi, what you got going on, my brother? Girl fight, arguments, physical fights at work, competing. So maybe it is something about him dealing with multiple people. I've picked up on that energy. And someone's going to be sad, hurt, and upset, etc. Or is this something, because he did say call him Leslie. Does he have, let me let y'all finish that. What's next for Lil Uzi Vert? What's next for Lil Uzi Vert? Or is you going to try to reconnect with someone that's going to cause a girl fight? You're going to leave someone sad, hurt, and upset. I'm also getting something with his identity, too. Ooh, I'll just shuffle right to the death card. Interesting. Energy around Lil Uzi Vert. Death to represent transition, transformation, too. Doesn't have to be little death. Energy around Lil Uzi Vert. King of Books. So there's something, this is like a therapist or going to somebody for help. A powerful intellectual elder could help you to face your fears. This may be an actual person, but it also could be an author speaking to you through a book. Reading around the subject of your fear can help you overcome it. It's giving therapy or something like that. So that's what I have. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.